All right, in this next clip, we're going to talk about sustaining greatness, not just getting to the top, but how do you stay on top? I think one of your superpowers as well is a good friend of mine coaches the Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra, one of the top coaches in NBA history. And he told me once after they lost in the finals, I was like, yeah, it's got to be tough to bounce back from that, right? He's like, no, it's not hard, not as hard to come back after you lose in the finals as it is after you win the championship. And it's what I call the sustaining greatness. And in looking at your career, man, you've been able to do that. It's not a 1 year, 2 year, it's a lifetime of what you've done. And I don't think people look at this enough, right? Like the longevity of it's amazing. Is there anything you do in this term of, man, I'm going to sustain this greatness?
Bro, I have done, I don't know, a couple hundred podcasts. I have never had anyone say that piece right there. Like that's probably what I'm most proud of is the ability to, I'll have more seasons of winning than Eric in the Miami Heat because I'm in a sector, I'm in a lane where you can be 103 years old and still win. You can't do that in basketball. And I also agree with what Eric said about it is harder when you're successful than it is when you're beat down. When you're beat down and you have built this kind of thing, this thing inside of you, my daughter calls it the dog. Once you have the dog, dude, once you've been in public and been humiliated and decided I cannot live like this, and then you get up, that Terminator kind of, I'll be back, like once you develop that, dude, you have it forever.
So in Grant talking about sustaining greatness, what's going on in the brain after you hit a certain level? Even these Olympic athletes, they get to a certain level, they win gold. How do you continue to drive more and more and not let that, hitting the top point be the end all be all?
Well, I love Ariana Grande's song, Thank You, Next. It's mental health in 3 words. I mean, it's sort of a silly song. But I texted her after I heard it, and I'm like, it's mental health in 3 words. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, it's gratitude for whatever happened, and then turning your head and look forward. So I've had the opportunity to see people who've won multiple gold medals, and some of them are miserable.
Yeah, totally.
Because they're looking behind. They're looking at their past, and I'm only good if I'm diving, or I'm only good if I'm shooting. And I'm like, you have to know what's next. Yeah. And even with Alicia Newman, when we talk about maybe she'll compete in 2028, but it's like, okay, what about the next 20 years?
Yeah.
It's like map it out so that you're always activating your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that sees the future, and feed it and then go, okay, does it fit? Does it fit? Because all elite athletes, you never know, right? What if you're going to get hurt? You never know really when the end of your career is. And if this is everything, well, then when it stops, you've lost everything. And that's a prescription for misery. Yep. I think I told you I did the big NFL study, and we saw 400 NFL players. And there's a lot of depression. If they had 4 times the level of depression as the general population. Jeez. I mean, these, very successful people. And often it's because their careers ended before they thought they would. And so planning and forethought and looking beyond is important, I think.
Yeah.
And then keeping your brain healthy.
Yeah.
Right? Because fame, whether it's in athletics or in music or acting, fame wears out the pleasure centers of your brain. When wherever you go, somebody recognizes you, somebody wants their picture taken with you, somebody wants your autograph. A little bit of that is cool. A lot of that is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so it wears out your pleasure centers, and then pretty soon you just feel flat. And then bad things happen when you feel flat. You start drinking too much. You might do drugs. You might get involved in extramarital affairs because you're looking to recreate the dopamine deficit that fame created.
Yeah.
And nobody's teaching these athletes, got to take care of your brain. Alicia stopped drinking for 2 years before the Olympics because she realized if you're a pole vaulter, you need your cerebellum. Yeah. You need that coordination part of your brain to be able to plant the pole and then fly, if you will. And alcohol is directly a toxin to your pleasure centers and also to your cerebellum. And so if you want to be elite for a long time, brain health is absolutely critical.
100%.